Alright, now let's begin our next topic. I have already told you there are two types of elasticities, demand elasticities and supply elasticity. Demand elasticity is further categorized into these three categories: price elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity of demand, and income elasticity of demand. So far we have studied one type of demand elasticity, which is price elasticity of demand. Now we are going to begin our discussion on cross price elasticity of demand. Alright, now what it means, cross price elasticity of demand, denoted by the symbol EXY, what does it mean? Now let's say every Sunday morning I take my breakfast at Dunkin' Donuts, right? And it's my habit, let's say it's my deep rooted habit, मेरी एक बहुत पक्की आदत है that I always consume coffee with donuts. I don't like consuming coffee alone. I always consume it with donuts. That means for me coffee and donuts are complementary goods. Now let's say donuts become very expensive. Let's say prices of donuts increase significantly. How will I respond in that situation? There is a possibility that I might stop purchasing coffee. Why? Because now that combination of coffee and donut, that combo of coffee and donut has become expensive. This is what cross price elasticity of demand is. It basically is, what does it mean theoretically? That if price of one good increases, how does that impact the quantity demanded of the other good, right? And how do we read this EXY? How do we read this symbol? Now in this symbol, ये जो X है, X is the good in question. X is the good whose demand we are trying to study. And Y is the good, Y is the related good, which is experiencing a change in price. Let me write it down. In this symbol, X is the good in question, right? X is the good whose demand we are trying to study. Y is the related good which is experiencing a change in price. And theoretically, what does cross price elasticity of demand means? How does the change in price of good Y impact the quantity demanded of good X, right? What is the formula for price mathematical interpretation क्या है? Mathematically we say that if price of good Y increases by 1%, by how much percent does the quantity demanded of good X changes? Let me write this down as well. If price of good Y changes by 1%, by how much percent does the quantity demanded of good X changes? What is the formula? What will be the formula? It is percentage change in, this will be percentage change in quantity demanded of good X divided by percentage change in price of good Y. This is the formula for cross price elasticity of demand. Right now let's take two examples. In example number 1, I'll be taking two substitute goods, right? Let's say I'm taking Tetra Pak milk and fresh milk, right? In example 2, I'll be taking complements, two complementary goods. Let's say I'm taking printers and cartridges. This is good X and this is good Y. Alright, now let's say in our example number 1, let's say prices of fresh milk increase. There is some percentage increase. There is some percentage increase in the price of fresh milk. How will that impact the quantity demanded of Tetra Pak milk? Just apply common sense. Fresh milk is getting expensive. People might switch to Tetra Pak milk because both are substitutes. Therefore, there will be some percentage increase in the quantity demanded of Tetra Pak milk. There will be some percentage increase in the quantity demanded of Tetra Pak milk, right? So what is happening in the formula of cross price elasticity of demand? A positive percentage change in price, that means your denominator is positive, right? And a positive percentage change in quantity demanded as well. That means your numerator is also positive. A positive number divided by a positive number is always positive. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that the cross price elasticity of substitute goods is always positive. The cross price elasticity of demand of substitute goods is always positive, right? Because these two variables, the numerator and the denominator, they always move in the same direction. If there is some percentage decrease in the price of fresh milk, there will be some percentage decrease in the quantity demanded of Tetra Pak milk, because now people will start substituting fresh milk for Tetra Pak milk. So once again, a negative divided by negative is always positive, right? What about this example? In this example, let's say prices of cartridges increase. There is some percentage increase in the price of cartridges, right? What will happen to the quantity demanded of printers? Now naturally, people are going to think that this is just not the right time to purchase printers, because cartridges have become expensive. This printer and cartridge combo has become expensive. So what will happen? There will be some percentage decrease in the quantity demanded of printers. What will happen in the formula? Formula में क्या होगा? The denominator is increasing. There is some percentage increase in the denominator. So the denominator is positive, right? Denominator is positive. What about the numerator? It's negative, because there is some percentage decrease in the quantity demanded. And a negative divided by positive is always negative. Conclusion क्या हुआ? That the cross price elasticity of demand of complements is always negative. You can read it the other way around as well. That let's say I ask you to do a calculation to calculate the cross price elasticity of two pair of goods. If you arrive at a negative number, that means those two goods are complements. If you arrive at a positive number, that means those two goods are substitutes. Let's do a calculation. Let's say this is a question. Calculate the cross price elasticity in following two situations. Indicate whether they are substitutes or complements, right? Let's do part number 1 first. When price of good Y decreases by 50%, quantity demanded of good X decreases by 20%, right? Write the formula for cross price elasticity. Percentage change in quantity demanded of good X divided by percentage change in the price of good Y. So in this example, your price of good Y is decreasing by 50%. That means minus 50%, right? And in response to that decrease in price by 50%, quantity demanded of good X is also decreasing by 20%, right? What will be the answer? 20% divided by 50%, it's 0.4, right? Since it's a positive number, what's the conclusion? That these two goods are substitutes because their cross price elasticity of demand is a positive number, right? What about part 2? Let's solve part 2 now. When price of good Y decreases by 50%, quantity demanded of good X increases by 20%, right? So that means your denominator, increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. Your denominator is decreasing by 50%, minus 50%, and your numerator is increasing by 20%, plus 20%. So 20% divided by 50% is negative 0.4. Conclusion क्या है? Don't worry about the magnitude right now. Just focus on the sign. Since these two goods are complements, how did we determine that? Because their cross price elasticity of demand is a negative number. Is that clear? So far I have just talked about the sign of cross price elasticity of demand. In the next video I am going to talk about the magnitude.